Hello, Scott, with another installation of your training and support video. This time we've input all the individual child's information. Now we want to think, okay, we've made developmental judgments on the individual children. How does that look for groups, for year groups, for classes, for the whole setting, basically? Now, all this is purely analytical. You do not have to do any manual calculation yourself. It's more about just understanding the visuals and the data we produce. So you go into Early Essence again, and underneath Reports, Assessments, Observations, we go into EYFS Reports. Now, whole class attainment at the top is the start point because it does all aspects. So from the all aspects with all children, you can unpick which aspects in particular you want to investigate, make that more forensic analysis. So again, as with all the menus, you'll go into the relevant age group, relevant class or classes, and the assessment date. Now, it's important to remember that we archive all your data. So yes, we've got a full set of data for this year. However, you can go back to previous years and still retrieve that data. It's still available to you. The onus on saving it and storing it is not yours, it's ours. Okay, here you'll see that the analysis is either typical or aspirational. Now, that is something to discuss with your administrator, but typical is generally governmental expectations for progress development. Aspirational is set within your school or nursery. If we look at typical, then you'll see that we have a graph with all aspects, ages and stages down the side, and basically what you've got is the child's initials, and if you hover over them, that will give you their name in every aspect. Now, the blue indicators are average attainment. So, in a nutshell, you can look at literacy and mathematics as being, on average, below the rest of the aspects for the cohort, and also in understanding the world and technology is below. Just above that, there's a quick summary of how many observations you've got per aspect, just to make sure you've got enough evidence to back up your developmental judgments. So number and technology, shape and space, arguably you're a bit vulnerable to subjectivity there without more evidence to back up your judgment. Below that, then that is all the painful stuff that historically you've done on the calculator. So per aspect, for typical development, it will give you at typical, above typical, and below, and that is by term. So if your expectations by term are that they should be 40 to 60 emerging in autumn term, developing in spring term, ELG in summer, then that is live. So it's by term, it's like on track. A good level of development, which is your first 12 aspects, you have on track. So do you have all 12 at the expected level for the term? And then good level development is the emerging picture for the end of the year. Your progress measures, expected, accelerated and slowed per aspect, and then that is your end of reception profile report as it builds for exceeding 3, expected 2, and emerging 1. You do have a filter, so you can look at specifically groups of children. So if you select the drop down, you'll see all the filter criteria you can add. Your administrator may choose to add school-specific filters where they want to investigate the impact of, in this case, a social skills intervention. a fresh start intervention, key worker, etc. Now, it is as simple as selecting the filter you want. In this case, summerborn. You can select multiple filters. So you could select males who are summerborn, update that, and then the graph and the data reflects that set. All reports that you see will be titled clearly, and you can export them to Excel. You have the ability to add pupil progress notes there as well, and you can view the data as either initials or percentages at each age and stage, which again is quite a big time saver in relation to calculation. That is the whole class attainment visual. That is your start point for analysis.